Hello, world. All right, David here. I'm starting a new thing. This is the first one I've ever done, and hopefully, I can do this every single Friday from 11 p.m. to midnight CST. Um, Basically, to sum it up, I love mindset, and I found this really profound material. It's called the Master Key System. The first time I heard it, I was like, "What in the fuck is he saying?" And I've thanks to my mentors like Bob Proctor and Dave Conway and all these other people, I know that I'm supposed to re-go over the material over and over and over, and that's how I'm going to understand it, and that's how it's going to stick, and that's how I'm going to retrain my subconscious mind. So this is just a part of me trying to help you, help me, right? That's how this is going to work. Little about me first. Right now, I'm on a dopamine fast. Definitely nothing special. I started 5 hours ago, so we'll see next week. The longest dopamine fast I've ever been on was 7 days, and after that, I kind of binged. So we'll see what happens. So basically, what I'm doing is the logic is if I get rid of my dopamine, then if I lower my dopamine, I'll be more willing to do um, the lower dopamine activities like cleaning, taxes, marketing, all these things that I'm supposed to be doing, finances, right? All these things that I'm supposed to be doing. If I have a naturally lower dopamine level, then I will be more motivated to do those things. And if I have a phone in my pocket or a laptop with videos on it or social media or the news, I'm going to be much more, or like high food, stimulating foods. I'm going to be much more inclined to do those things instead of um, those things I just mentioned. And if you sit down on one spot and you try to do nothing, realize how hard that is, right? So, I mean, if it's that hard to do nothing, if you can get to the point where you're going to say, "Hey, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do nothing," well, eventually you're going to do something. I guarantee it. You probably won't even last that long, maybe 5 minutes. Maybe who knows? Everybody's different. But the point is, if you can just sit there and say, "I am going to do nothing," eventually you're going to be like, not even eventually, it'll be quick, and you're going to be like, "Okay, I want to go clean my room," or whatever it is that you want to get done. So that's the logic. I'm going to try it out, and that's what I'm doing this week. So that I'm always trying something new. So I'm probably going to be starting these calls by talking about like what little thing I'm working on. Uh, yeah. So it'll be a lot funner with somebody else here, maybe you. Um, and also next week, I'm going to have it recorded on YouTube and it'll be live streamed. So let's say you don't want to have to uh, come to the call at this exact time and interact with everybody. You just want to check out what I'm doing here. Well, you will be able to come check out what we're doing here without actually having to come here. And then if you do want to join us, of course, please. Okay, so this is the first one I've ever done. So I don't even know if you guys can hear me. Test. Oh yeah, oh, this is going here. So shit. So I looked at all the things, and it doesn't look like I have a way to play video. Shit, I didn't look at how to play a music or video so that everybody can hear properly. So you know what? Today I'm just going to play it through my speakers. Hopefully you can hear it. If you can't, it's okay. You can always look at the audio online or whatever. So let's do that. Okay, so there's a format, and the format that we're going to do is we're going to start early, and we're going to so we can get so we can chit chat, and then at 11 o'clock we're going to go through what I just did right now, and then we're going to listen to it for 15 minutes. If you have a question, you put up your hand, and then I'll stop I'll stop the player, and then we'll have a discussion on that topic on whatever your question is, and then we'll eventually get through it, And then once we're done, we'll talk about what we learned and what our most like impactful thing was from it. And that's it. So we're just going to listen to it and talk about it. It can't get much easier than that. So okay, we're going to start with chapter 1. And each week we're going to go through a new chapter sequentially. And we'll just keep repeating once we get to the end. We'll just go right back to the beginning again. And we'll do that. So the 24-week course. And that's, I believe, half the weeks in the year, pretty much. Plus there's a Q&A at the end. So we should be able to go through this twice a year.
The Master Key System by Charles F. Hannell. Read by Randy Scott. Original copyright 1916 by Charles F. Hannell. St. Louis, Missouri. Prior to this book's publication, the Master Key System was distributed as a 24-week correspondence course. Each of the 24 chapters contain an introduction, exercise towards the end, followed by a section with questions and answers. Letter of Transmittal, Part 1. It is my privilege to enclose herewith Part 1 of the Master Key System. Would you bring into your life more power? Get the power consciousness. More health? Get the health consciousness. More happiness? Get the happiness consciousness. Live the spirit of these things until they become yours by right. It will then become impossible to keep them from you. The things of the world are fluid to a power within man by which he rules them. You need not acquire this power. You already have it. But you want to understand it. You want to use it. You want to control it. You want to impregnate yourself with it so that you can go forward and carry the world before you. Day by day, as you go on and on, as you gain momentum, as your inspiration deepens, as your plans crystallize, as you gain understanding, you will come to realize that this world is no dead pile of stones and timber, but that it is a living thing. It is made up of the beating hearts of humanity. It is a thing of life and beauty. It is evident that it requires understanding to work with material of this description. But for those who come into this understanding, are inspired by a new light, a new force. They gain confidence and greater power each day. They realize their hopes and their dreams come true. Life has a deeper, fuller, clearer meaning than before. Part 1. That much gathers more is true on every plane of existence, and that loss leads to greater loss is equally true. Mind is creative, and conditions, environment, and all experiences in life are the result of our habitual or predominant mental attitude. The attitude of mind necessarily depends upon what we think. Therefore, the secret of all power, all achievement, and all possession depends upon our method of thinking. This is true because we must be before we can do, and we can do only to the extent of which we are, and what we are depends upon what we think. We cannot express powers which we do not possess, and the only way by which we may secure possession of power is to become conscious of power. And we can never become conscious of power until we learn that all power is from within. There is a world within, a world of thought and feeling and power, of light and life and beauty. And although invisible, its forces are mighty. The world within is governed by mind. When we discover this world, we shall find the solution for every problem, the cause for every effect. And since the world within is subject to our control, all laws, power, and possession are also within our control. The world without is a reflection of the world within. What appears without is what has been found within. In the world within may be found infinite wisdom, infinite power, infinite supply of all that is necessary. waiting for unfoldment, development, and expression. If we recognize these potentialities in the world within, they will take form in the world without. Harmony in the world within will be reflected in the world without by harmonious conditions, agreeable surroundings, and the best of everything. It is the foundation of health and a necessary essential to all greatness, all power, all attainment, all achievement, and all success. Harmony in the world within means the ability to control our thoughts, to determine for ourselves how any experience is to affect us. Harmony in the world within results in optimism and affluence. Affluence within results in affluence without. The world without reflects the circumstances and the conditions of the consciousness within. If we find wisdom in the world within, we shall have the understanding to discern the marvelous possibilities which are latent in this world within, and we shall be given the power to make these possibilities manifest in the world without. As we become conscious of the wisdom in the world within, we mentally take possession of this wisdom, and by taking mental possession, we come into actual possession of the power and wisdom necessary to bring into manifestation the essentials necessary for our most complete and harmonious development. The world within is the practical world in which the men and women of power generate courage, hope, enthusiasm, confidence, trust, and faith, by which they are given the fine intelligence and the practical skill to see the vision and make the vision real. Life is an unfoldment, not accretion. What comes to us in the world without is what we already possess in the world within. All possession is based on consciousness. All gain is the result of an accumulative consciousness. All loss is a result of a scattering of consciousness. Mental efficiency is contingent upon harmony. Discord means confusion. Therefore, who would acquire power must be in harmony with natural law. We are related to the world without by the objective mind. The brain is the organ of this mind, and the cerebrospinal system of nerves puts us in conscious communication with every part of the body. The system of nerves responds to every sensation of light, heat, odor, sound, and taste. When this mind thinks correctly, when it understands the truth, when the thoughts sent through the cerebrospinal nervous system to the body are constructive, these sensations are pleasant, harmonious. The result is that we build strength, vitality, and all constructive forces into our body. But it is through this same objective mind that all distress, sickness, lack, limitation, and every form of discord and inharmony is admitted to our lives. It is therefore through the objective mind, by wrong thinking, that we are related to all destructive forces. We are related to the world within by the subconscious mind. The solar plexus is the organ of this mind. The sympathetic system of nerves presides over all subjective sensations, such as joy, fear, love, emotion, respiration, imagination, and all other subconscious phenomena. It is through the subconscious that we are connected with the universal mind and brought into relation with the infinite constructive forces of the universe. It is the coordination of these two centers of our being and the understanding of their functions, which is the great secret of life. With this knowledge, we can bring the objective and subjective minds into conscious cooperation and thus coordinate the finite and the infinite. Our future is entirely within our own control. It is not at the mercy of any capricious.
All right, if you're watching, which you're probably not, I'm going to follow along. I got a binder here and has the PDF of this. I bought it off of Pallister Publishing. It came with a whole bunch of crap, to be honest. And I want to follow along. As he's reading, I want to just follow along on the paper. So what I have done, is he describing the universal mind yet?
Or uncertain external power. All agree that there is but one principle or consciousness pervading the entire universe, occupying all space, and being essentially the same in kind at every point of its presence. It is all powerful, all wisdom, and always present. All thoughts and things are within itself. It is all in all. There is but one consciousness in the universe able to think. When it thinks, its thoughts become objective things to it. As this consciousness is omnipresent, it must be present within every individual. Each individual must be a manifestation of that omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent consciousness. As there is only one consciousness in the universe which is able to think, it necessarily follows that your consciousness is identical with the universal consciousness. Or, in other words, all mind is one mind. There is no dodging this conclusion. The consciousness which focuses in your brain cells is the same consciousness which focuses in the brain cells of every other individual. Each individual is but the individualization of the universal, the cosmic mind. The universal mind is static, or potential energy. It simply is. It can manifest only through the individual, and the individual can manifest only through the universal. They are one. The ability of the individual to think is his ability to act on the universal and bring it into manifestation. Human consciousness consists only in the ability of man to think. Walker says, mind in itself is believed to be a subtle form of static energy, from which arises the activities called thought, which is the dynamic phase of mind. Mind is static energy. Thought is dynamic energy. The two phases of the same thing. Thought is therefore the vibratory force formed by converting static mind into dynamic mind. As the sum of all attributes is contained in the universal mind, which is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, these attributes must be present at all times in their potential form in every individual. Therefore, when the individual thinks, the thought is compelled by its nature to embody itself in an objectivity or condition which will correspond with its origin. Every thought is therefore a cause, and every condition an effect. For this reason, it is absolutely essential that you control your thoughts so as to bring forth only desirable conditions. All power is from within and is absolutely under your control. It comes through exact knowledge and by the voluntary exercise of exact principles. It should be plain that when you get a thorough understanding of this law and are able to control your thought processes, you can apply it to any condition. In other words, you will have come into conscious cooperation with omnipotent law, which is the fundamental basis of all things. The universal mind is the life principle of every atom which is in existence. Every atom is continually striving to manifest more life. All are intelligent, and all are seeking to carry out the purpose for which they were created. A majority of mankind lives in the world without. Few have found the world within. And yet it is the world within which makes the world without. It is therefore creative, and everything which you find in your world without has been created by you in the world within. This system will bring you into a realization of power which will be yours when you understand this relation between the world without and the world within. The world within is the cause, the world without, the effect. To change the effect, you must change the cause. You will at once see that this is a radically new and different idea. Most men try to change effects by working with effects. They fail to see that this is simply changing one form of distress for another. To remove discord, we must remove the cause, and this cause can be found in the world within.
That's one of my favorite lines, actually, right there. Most men try to change effects by working with effects. They fail to see that this is simply changing one form of distress for another. So basically what he's saying is something isn't going right. They try to change something else in the outside world without looking at the thoughts. And he really emphasizes I thought he was emphasizing the thoughts, but no, he says that it's the mind that does it. But the mind would be controlled by the thoughts and the feelings. And he doesn't mention the feelings much in this, but I've been learning more about feelings. And yeah, a thought accepted, a thought that is accepted by a feeling will happen, right? I'm still learning as well. But anyway, I just wanted to say that that's one of my favorite lines. But to remove discord, we must remove the cause. So yeah, we need to remove the thoughts that are causing the things that we don't want, and the feelings. We got to remove the thoughts and the feelings that are causing the things that we don't want. And you will find that the bad feelings cause the bad thoughts, that cause the bad feelings that cause the bad thoughts, but also the good feelings cause the good thoughts, the good thoughts cause the good feelings. So it's either a spiral up or a spiral down.
All growth is from within. This is evident in all nature. Every plant.
And if you think about it, a spiral is like big base. It's slow moving, but like once you get it going for long enough, it like goes parabolic. Same with the spiral down. Like if you're in a spiral down for a long time, it gets parabolic and it starts going down so fast, so quick, you don't even know what happened to you, right? But the opposite is true. When you start going up, it takes a lot to get going. But once you get going, you go up so fast, so quick, you don't know what happened to you. It's probably a two-year journey. And the thing is, the memory doesn't last that long, right? So the memory lasts like a day, a week, a month, right? When we're trying to understand all this, that's why it's so important to track results. Because like in a year from now, when we're just starting to hit that parabolic one, we rarely remember what we were doing a year ago that caused the results to start getting parabolic, and things start changing. So we start changing, and we don't do what we were doing to get these results, and then that's usually when it can go, right? So that's why keeping track is so very, very important.
Every animal, every human is a living testimony to this great law. And the error of the ages is in looking for strength or power from without. The world within is the universal fountain of supply, and the world without is the outlet to the stream. Our ability to receive depends upon our recognition of this universal fountain, this infinite energy of which each individual is an outlet. And so is one with every other individual. Recognition is a mental process. Mental action is therefore the interaction of the individual upon the universal mind. And as the universal mind is the intelligence which pervades all space and animates all living things. This mental action and reaction is the law of causation, but the principle of causation does not obtain in the individual, but in the universal mind. It is not an objective faculty, but a subjective process, and the results are seen in an infinite variety of conditions and experiences. In order to express life, there must be mind. Nothing can exist without mind. Everything which exists is some manifestation of this one basic substance from which and by which all things have been created and are continually being recreated. We live in a fathomless sea of plastic mind substance. This substance is ever alive and active. It is sensitive to the highest degree. It takes form according to the mental demand. Thought forms the mold or matrix from which the substance expresses. Remember that it is in the application alone that the value consists, and that a practical understanding of this law will substitute abundance for poverty, wisdom for ignorance, harmony for discord, and freedom for tyranny. And certainly there can be no greater blessing than these from a material and social standpoint.
Okay, so he says, thought forms the mold or matrix from which the substance expresses, but he says it's this law that will do, will substitute. He says that this law is what will bring all the great things that we want. But what is this law? And from what I understand, what he's trying to say is that the law is that the thoughts are connected with the mind, and the mind is what brings forth our realities. So we can literally change our realities by changing our thoughts. But it would have to be thoughts and feelings. And yeah, I mean, it sounds easy. Well, thoughts cause feelings. So if you have the right thoughts, they'll generate the right feelings, which will generate the right actions, which will generate our realities. It's also deeper than that too, because the mind works in ways that we can't comprehend, right? It's the subconscious. So yeah, it's very crazy how powerful that is. And you'll find that a lot of people they can't rise past the level that they set for themselves. You'll see it all the time where people they just go up to this level and they just can't break it, and then they just go on a cycle, right? Um, Happens to everybody at every level, and that's a really big like a mindset thing because the mind is uh, is creating its reality, and its reality says that no, you can't, you're not past this level, so then you just don't go past that level. Or I don't know, I'm not an expert in that matter. It's hard to break past that level, and I haven't done it yet, but it might happen.
Now make the application. Select a room where you can be alone and undisturbed. Sit erect, comfortably, but do not lounge. Let your thoughts roam where they will, but be perfectly still for from 15 minutes to half an hour. Continue this for 3 or 4 days or for a week until you secure full control of your physical being. Many will find this extremely difficult. Others will conquer with ease, but it is absolutely essential to secure complete control of the body before you are ready to progress. Next week, you'll receive instructions for the next step. In the meantime, you must have mastered this one.
Okay, so the next step is the questions and answers. It gives you the questions and the answers. I like it. I like listening to it. So we'll just listen to it every time. I don't need to give anybody questions or quiz or anything like that. But if you really want to know you understand it, then you would want to get the questions like I have here, and then you would want to answer them in your own words, and then check on to see like what you know and what you don't know. Um, but I mean, even listening to the answers, it's still I can still practice the exercise even though I listen to it. Also, he just mentioned that there is a practice to do, and the practice like is the hard part, because studying is okay, but putting it and if you don't put it into practice, it's useless. Like you can study electrical engineering, and if you never use your electrical engineering, then it's useless, right? Um, so I mean, you can study this until you're blue in the face, but if we are not implementing the practice and implementing these uh, controlling the thoughts and the feelings, and recognizing the omnipotence all around us and being grateful and thankful, then there's no point to any of this. Because if we're not going to do it, then it's useless, right? So it's in the practice is the most important part, and it's also the hardest part. He says in the third chapter, it's like uh, the mental labor, and it's the hardest labor to do, but that means it's going to yield the most, whatever you want to call it. So it'll be worth the most, but it's also the hardest. And the hardest, it's not even hardest to do, it's just hardest to get started. So for those reasons, at the end of the call, when everybody's done, um, hopefully by 11:45, then we'll go from 11:45 to 12. We'll do the practice, and I know we're all going to be talking a lot and getting along great. We can push the practice back by 10 minutes. Lots of people won't want to do it because there's always an excuse, right? But I'm just trying to let you know that the practice is like the most important part, and implying, especially for making this go into your life. And the practice is the most important part. And also I found that like basically what he's going to be guiding us through is how to do a form of meditating that's really going to improve your control over your thoughts, over your body, over the mind. And you will notice immediate results if you do these exercises 4 or 5 times a week.
Questionnaire Part 1. What is the world without in its relation to the world within? The world without is a reflection of the world within. Upon what does all possession depend? All possession is based on consciousness. How is the individual related to the objective world? The individual is related to the objective world by the objective mind. The brain is the organ of this mind. How is he related to the universal mind? He is related to the universal mind by the subconscious mind. The solar plexus is the organ of this mind. What is the universal mind? The universal mind is the life principle of every atom which is in existence. How can the individual act on the universal? The ability of the individual to think is his ability to act upon the universal and bring it into manifestation. What is the result of this action and interaction?
I've been talking about feelings, and I just want to say that thoughts cause feelings. So he isn't wrong when he says thoughts can affect the mind, because the thoughts do create the feelings, and they also create things outside of ourselves because the mind is connected to everything. So
The result of this action and interaction is cause and effect. Every thought is a cause, and every condition an effect. How are harmonious and desirable conditions secured? Harmonious and desirable conditions are obtained by right thinking. What is the cause of all discord, inharmony, lack, and limitation? Discord, inharmony, lack, and limitation are the result of wrong thinking. What is the source of all power? The source of all power is the world within, the universal fountain of supply, the infinite energy of which each individual is an outlet. Letter
la-di-da. That's the first one. All right. Well, how was that for you guys? Yeah. First time I heard that, I was like, what on earth did I just listen to? But there was some profound truths in there that I recognized, and I was like, this is the knowledge I want to learn. So this is what I will learn. And yeah, okay. So now we're going to do the exercise. So like you said, basically the exercise is to sit still for 15 minutes, and you're allowed to let your thoughts go wherever they want. And the goal is to control the body. So the body wants to move, we even need to tell it not to, and be like, no, like we're in control. So get comfortable, don't slouch, and we're going to go for 15 minutes here. I'm not done. One sec. All right. So I don't know. There's that one, and then there's the one where you like control the mind. I really, really, really like this one because I'm sitting there and I can just think, and then I'm like consciously thinking about what I want to think about, which is constructive. So, like I said before we started that, I wanted to like studying this is going to make zero difference and going to not do anything unless we implement it into our life, right? So, how are we going to implement this into our life? Well, we're going to practice. We're going to practice this exercise that we just did 4 or 5 times a week. All right, morning gratitude. Okay, so the underlying logic behind it is that okay, so we understand now that we need to consciously control our thoughts to control our destiny. But we have to consciously do it because the subconscious mind will do anything that we ask it, but we need to ask it, right? And that's conscious, right? So and so we need to consciously put in the work, otherwise it's going to just run its own script and do whatever it wants. Um, and that's going to be whatever what was done from the past or whatever it is, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to practice the exercise 4 or 5 times a week, and then we're going to eventually do it every day. And then the second thing is a gratitude practice. So I'm going to wake up in the morning. I got this from Bob Proctor. So think of 10 things I'm grateful for. Send love to 3 people, especially if they're bothering me, and also sit there for 5 minutes and connect with God. And then I also want to exercise after that as well. So that to me sounds like a pretty good morning. Much better than waking up and grabbing a cup of coffee, which I'm off the coffee now anyway. So hopefully that helps. And then as a reward after all that, I'm going to have like a black tea or something. Okay. So the morning exercise, right? Well, the practice, and then waking up with the gratitude. Um, uh, Another way that I'm going to implement this into my life is avoiding negative inputs and also getting rid of negative thoughts. So we not only do we want to like put in the good thoughts, but the subconscious mind, the conscious mind is the guardian of the subconscious mind. We're going to get into that next week, but I need to start recognizing my thoughts. And if it's a thought that I don't want, that's not serving me, that doesn't have any positive, useful purpose, I want to be able to recognize it and be like, I don't want that one. And just pick it out. I actually created a mnemonic of guardian of the gate. And if there's any thoughts that I don't want, not only can I kick it out, but I can kick it towards the pole of get something for it. And the thought comes back to me, but what I do want. So if I get a thought I like chips, I can use my guard at the gate, and he'll like kick it away, and it'll hit that pole, and it'll come back, and it'll be like carrot. So then I'll eat a carrot. Yeah. So get rid of so be aware of thoughts, and if there's any thought that isn't going to serve me, get rid of it. But I also have to get rid of avoid all negative inputs. So like the news. And when I say the news, I'm talking about a social media post that says like nukes are flying or something. Not nukes are flying. I'd want to know that, but like the nukes will fly. Or like so basically the news that's showing the world as like a negative place. I don't want to see that anymore. So be very cautious of my inputs and only have good inputs in there. And then another one was affirmations. Don't have any off the top of my head, but I would like some affirmations that I can just memorize and repeat to myself whenever I want. And the final one is only saying things as I want them to be. So I've noticed this lately. I have been like saying things how I don't want them to be, where I would be like having issues before the issues have even happened. So yeah, see things only as I want them to be. For let's think of an example. This call was amazing. This is my first one. I'm really happy to be here doing this with everybody, even if it is just with myself. It feels good. It feels right. And if I can add a lot of value to your lives, then I'm happy to do so. And we'll go from there. Thank you. We'll see you next week, 11 p.m. Central Time.